They expected that this would mean that Harvard would now be like 80% white men. It isn't. The majority of college students in America are women.
Instead of saying, hey, white men aren't enrolling, they're saying that white men can't get in because of affirmative action and DEI. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
Today, we're going to be getting into a video from the 154 podcast. It's a podcast between Godfrey and this guy named Akbar. And they recently had Joy Reid on the podcast. And they talked about a lot of different stuff in the clip that we're about to review, but I think all of it's very relevant. And yeah, without further ado, I think it was good conversations. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the video.
You gotta end that.
You ever see it in a restaurant when black people are by themselves happy? They go, they're making a lot of noise. They go, you are too.
Right.
You are too. It's like,
and you're complaining.
Right.
And you're complaining.
Right. But it's like when they see us, they say, get out of here. Okay, we'll get out of here. Get out of our town. Okay, we'll go build our own. Let's go.
Real quick, I just realized that, so the conversation of black autonomy and how it causes issue, and when you see somebody enjoying themselves to a certain extent, like, it makes me think. I just recently did a video about Tiana Taylor and her how she acted at the Oscars and how that created a whole bunch of online frenzy about like how she acted and whether or not people approve or disapprove of. And like hearing Godfrey say that now, it kind of brings me back to that, like, you know what, this is exactly the kind of stuff we were talking about, like people seeing her enjoying herself, having a good time, and they had plenty to say about it and how they didn't like it, and she shouldn't be acting that way and all that.
Burn that. What are they doing?
We gotta burn it, right?
Because we're running rent free in their heads every day. We run rent free.
Yeah.
This is all facts.
What do you think the long-term impact is going to be with affirmative action and the removal of affirmative action?
I mean, so I'll give you Harvard, for instance.
Okay.
The class the last affirmative action class at Harvard before the ruling went through had about 14% black, and when I went, it was 6% black. So it improved to get close to parity in our population. But it was 27% Asian. Asian Americans, Asian people are 5% of the country, but they were 27% of that incoming class. After affirmative action, those numbers are roughly the same.
Same, right?
The numbers of white men have gone down.
Yeah.
And so it hasn't worked out. And so now you're seeing the Stephen Millers of the world look at these elite universities and not see the number of white men increase.
And remember, like, whenever you'll see people on these podcasts, these right-wing podcasts and things of that nature, and they're talking about that, what she's getting into, it becomes like a way to target black Americans. Like, pay attention to how they talk about it and the manner in which they mention certain things. It's to target black Americans and say that black Americans are not qualified enough to get into these Ivy League schools.
Increasing, and now they want those universities investigated. But what they're leaving out of the story is that for a generation, people like Stephen Miller, people like the late Charlie Kirk, have been telling white men, don't go to college. They've been telling them it's a waste of money. It's an indoctrination factory to turn you into a liberal, to make you woke. And so white men are.
You know what's interesting about that? She's hitting on something else too. It's like Trump, I think, has mentioned it before as well. And the notion that the more educated you are, the more likely you are to become a liberal, or to at least sympathize with liberal policies, sentiment. Like, the more educated you are, the more progressive that you may become. So therefore, it's in our best interest as the Republican Party and the conservative right to deter you from going to these universities and really developing that view of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, stay in rural wherever America and just let us tell you how to think and explain to you why you should think that way. Don't go to these universities where they're going to expose you to history and, you know, different cultures and things of that nature, and you get an accurate picture of the world. Nah, don't do that. Just, hey, don't even go to those schools. You don't need them, because guess what? We're opening back up, you know, coal mining and things of that nature. We got you covered. You're going to get some jobs. We don't need you going to these universities and actually learning and improving your education. Because, by the way, we're also not going to be putting money into your local communities to improve education and things of that nature where you come from. So it's all a scam.
Are self-selecting out of college. And so now when you open up the opportunity to go to Harvard, the people who are prepared to go to Harvard, who are busting their ass in high school trying to get good grades, are immigrant kids who they're chasing away. You know, the international student body is plummeting, and that's what keeps these schools open, because the international students, like our parents, the government paid their bill.
Yeah.
There was they weren't paying for it. My father got his education because the government of the Congo paid for it, then Zaire. And so when you take the kids coming from China, that full payment from the Chinese government is gone. And the American kids who need student loans, who in many cases aren't even prepared for college, you're now whittling it down, and you're expecting white men to carry the burden. I mean, if I was a white guy, I'd be kind of offended. You want me to be all the pilots. You want me to be all the people in the Defense Department. You want me to do all the jobs. I got to be every job. I got to go to all the Harvards. I got to do all these things. And I've been told for a generation, don't even go to college at all. So a lot of these guys are.
So yeah, really, really hone in. So I hadn't really thought about it, the point that she's making right here, right? So yeah, if you're saying DEI is bad, right? DEI is bad and we need to get rid of it. So you're saying that pretty much white men need to be doing everything. And all of those different categories that she just named, like, just take a look at the population and the education or lack thereof across the American population. Do you think that white male Americans have enough people educated in all these different fields and things of that nature to fill all these positions? If nobody else could do it, no other minorities, anything like that, white men would be able to do it all. Do y'all really believe that white men would be able to work all the positions of the DOD, be all of the pilots, be all of the, you name it, like all of the different roles? Like, it's not a feasible way to believe that any of these organizations will be able to be structured. So of course there's gonna have to be minorities that work alongside of white men. So in order for things to be fair, that's the reason why affirmative action, DEI exists. That's the whole reason why those things exist. So it's insane. It's insane to do this to yourselves, because nobody is doing this to them. They are doing this to themselves.
Not even prepared, so they're not even qualified.
There's a lot that qualified. A lot of them are mediocre anyway.
So they weren't prepared, and so it's like they expected that this would mean that Harvard would now be like 80% white men. It isn't. The majority of college students in America are women.
Instead of saying, hey, white men aren't enrolling, they're saying that white men can't get in because of affirmative action and DEI.
More white women go to college than white men. And so now when they're looking at it, they're not getting the white man bonanza they expected, and the Stephen Millers of the world are mad about it.
And he needs to go that little.
The Hague. That's one place he should be. Yeah. The Hague.
He thinks he's so.
Some of these people in the Trump administration are if you think about it in terms of like movie dynamics and things like that, they really are supervillains. Like, come on, like they really are supervillains. The whatever movie, insert movie, the villain in the movie has more in common with people in the Trump administration than the hero of the movie.
Dope. And I think there's a lot of. Did you notice the first person to get a PhD is W.B. Du Bois, right?
Du Bois, yeah.
But
at Harvard.
If you notice when you were at Harvard, there was just legacy people where they were like dumb people.
Absolutely.
It's like, you dumb as hell. They
Some
was
of
just
the
in there.
dumbest people I met in the world were people at Harvard who were legacies. The smartest people I met. Ketanji Brown Jackson, I went to college with her. She was a
Ketanji,
year
yes.
behind me. Smartest person I ever met. Her roommates, geniuses. Genius, 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 genius. All four of them. Because they had to work 10 times as hard
doubt.
Just to get in.
just
No
to get
doubt.
in. Whereas the legacy kids, they didn't go to class. They were high. They were smoking weed. Because they didn't have to even get
And I hope this doesn't surprise anybody. I'm not surprised to hear anything like that. Like we know that there's pretty much multiple different variations of society, but high class society is with privilege, like beyond belief. So the fact that legacies get into these schools and don't have to do anything, they pretty much bought and paid for the education and the internship that they're going to go on to and all those different things. Like, it's not surprising at all. And we as, middle class, lower class, we don't have the power to change any of that. We just have to accept it and move on.
good grades. It didn't matter. They grade on a curve at Harvard, so they weren't going to fail. I got E's. When I'm talking about failing, I got an E. They didn't give you an F because they made it on a curve, and they try to keep you in. They put you on academic probation, et cetera. These guys go from academic probation to a ritzy job on Wall Street, even if they pass.
And I remember one of these influencers or something like that were saying a lot of disparaging things about the black people that attend Ivy League colleges, saying that they go on academic probation and things like that. And again, like I said, I think that's a targeted way of looking at it. I'd like to see like all the stats of everybody that goes on academic probation. I want to see how smart these legacy kids are. Like, are they really the smartest? It's a statistical anomaly that all of the richest people in the world, that their kids are going to all have the IQ or the accredited the knowledge and the accolades that they're all going to Ivy League schools, right? Like, yes, that's something between like how they were raised and all the different opportunities they were given as far as education and things of that nature. Like, yeah, the chances are high that they would make it into a good school, but the chances that all of them go to Ivy League schools and all of them are, the smartest people in the world, like, yeah, statistically impossible. That, whatever.
No classes. These people didn't work. They didn't try. They didn't have to do anything but play lacrosse on the weekends and chill and get high. We're producing a group of people who are coming out of Harvard who are no more educated than had they not gone at all, because they didn't have to even read a book while they were there, because they're legacies.
It's all smoke
and they
and
don't
mirrors.
deserve to be there.
At
The grades
all.
were in high school.
At all.
And yet they had the name. I mean, I went to college with a woman whose name was on one of the buildings. Of course she got in. Her name is on a building.
Oh, right. 'Cause her family, she's a legacy.
Her family's a legacy. So it's like, that person, is that person smarter than Ketanji? No. But that person gets to get it, and no one questions their presence.
None.
No one says, is that okay? But they say that this affirmative action genius kid from Ohio somewhere that busted their ass in high school doesn't belong there simply because they're black. That's America.
So obviously that's the end of the video. Let me know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? It's a sad state of the world. Again, I don't think that affirmative action, DEI was what people made it out to be. It shouldn't be demonized. It was something that was improving our society. And now the fact that it's been demonized to the point to where, we're looking at videos of the depositions and things of that nature, like, people like legit have no idea what affirmative action is, what DEI is. Somebody told them that it was bad and it was affecting them getting an opportunity. Like, you are not getting the opportunities that you deserve because somebody else is automatically being catapulted to the top and they're not qualified. And that's the reason why you are suffering for it. So you've made it a point to demonize people based off of a false narrative, and it's unfortunate. But that's going to be it for this one. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And until next time,
Ooh,
I'll holla at you.
hey, why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy winning, I forgot that I got frenemies.